Okay, I think we're live. Hey, what's up, guys? We're back on a new episode, and it is episode 65. We finished a epic trailer uplifting track last time, and in my free time, before and after work and things like that, I was working on a template, and I have been working on this template for a while now. It's just one of those things where I feel like it's time to update everything I have and all the new libraries that I've acquired over the last 2 years. And so it was the dreaded updating of the template time of the year. And when I say dreaded, it's because it's through Vienna Ensemble Pro. And as some of you may know, that Vienna Ensemble Pro is a beast of a software to master and also to decipher when it comes to going back into what you've set up and organized over the past. So that gives me a lot of anxiety, and that is something that I want to share with you guys on a different approach that you can try using that isn't really recommended from what I understand on the forums, but I thought about it long and hard, and I went for it, and this is what I have. So let me go ahead and show you my template, and also I'm just looking over on my screen here. Looks like my YouTube screen that I normally check is just was bugging out. So let me just make sure that I can see myself. Okay, hello, hello. All right, so let me give you a little bit of a backstory. So the reason why I went with Vienna Ensemble Pro is because there are a couple. I would say three main things about that. One reason is it's faster load times when you decouple from Vienna Ensemble Pro, and what I mean by that is when you load in your instruments over here, um, they will save all their memory separate from the Cubase session. And so when I press save on this library or this project file, you can see over here that it's only 21 megabytes. The smaller the file size, the faster your save times. So that's number one, the biggest reason why I did that, because when as you know, when you're working on big sessions like um, this will kill your creative time when you're always constantly saving. And also, Cubase has like a backup auto save function as well, and I think I have mine set at like 5 to 10 minutes. So again, when you're working on huge libraries like this, it's gonna take forever to save. Generally, is the reason. The other reason is that with the Ensemble Pro, you can also jump between sessions, and again, it'll load faster. You already have all your sounds loaded up for the most part to go to a different project, and this works really well in conjunction with film scores. So if you're working on a same film, different cue, but using similar instruments, you can do that. So that in itself is a huge game changer. Um, and as far as anything else goes, Vienna Ensemble Pro, I think it's a mouthful. We can call it VE Pro or VEP for short. Vienna Ensemble Pro is just a very solid piece of software. I find that it never crashes per se. Cross your fingers, but it makes the whole workflow system a little bit more streamlined, um, not as buggy once you understand the quirks about all of that. Okay, so now the thing about what I have here, this is a session I pulled up from a previous project, and then I just one by one went in and grabbed the MIDI files up here, and then I just dragged them down below. So I'm just going to see how this works today. I barely just got a chance to sit down and do all that right before turning the YouTube on. And let's see how it sounds. And then I'm going to explain what I did to make this a little bit different than what normally is done with Vienna Ensemble Pro. So let's press play from the beginning. Okay. All right. And I noticed when you listen to that big trumpet part, you can tell it was like it sounded off the timing wise, and I know exactly what happened there. So I'm going to fix that right now. So this Jaeger Trumpet 3 is I have the sample start of it being delayed, and that's why it's behind the beat. So there you go. Let's hear that again at, let's maximize this. Okay, all right. So I just wanted to show you guys what how it plays with my new template. A lot of things probably haven't been balanced out properly with mixing and whatnot, and so please forgive you know the poor balancing part of it. But this is what I'm really excited about is when you work inside of Vienna Ensemble Pro, typically you load in maybe 2 or 3 instances. So let me show you what I mean by that. So over on the very top, I think sometimes you can see these little tabs over here off to the left. I think there's a way to do that. I forget how, but now right now at least it's showing up top. So normally you have 3 instances, and then you load a crap ton of plugins on this tab right here to the left, and generally you can load in lots of MIDI ports and have something like 100 28 audio outputs, stereo outputs, or 64 outputs, I think is what it was. Anyways, most computers can handle that. Great. And that's how I worked for many years. I even made a couple tutorials about it, and some of you may have watched that. But after thinking about it, there's a lot of disadvantages to this approach. One is it's already a mess when you start, putting multiple instruments, and it could be woodwinds, all the woodwind instruments down through this tab, and then you have to search it this way, vertically. Another issue is more about how it interfaces inside of Cubase or whichever DAW you use. I'm sure it's the same way, but before, I would have to, if I wanted to do like a render in place, I couldn't actually just do a dry transfer. So that whole function wasn't available because the audio outputs from each instance of VEP Pro or VE Pro gives you, like a certain allotted audio output. When I press render, you would get every output that was part of that instance. So let's say you had 32 outputs. It would actually output every single channel, and most of them would be silent, just blank waveform. And then you would have that one file that would be your, Hollywood Winds, whatever track it is. There's a workaround, and that workaround would have been just doing like a complete signal path, and then you could, sometimes there's a box where you can do mix down to one audio file or something like that. Anyways, that you could render it, but my problem with that was the dry transfer is great because it actually allows you to keep all the settings inside of your track. So if you have your sends, if you have some inserts that you want to keep, then all of that would be there. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm doing a dry transfer through Vienna Ensemble Pro. And I tested this before, but I haven't done it in a while. This should theoretically give you one audio file. Boom, like that. And again, let's see if we kept our settings. So the only thing I actually added in the inserts was, in the sends was this right here. It's a reverb send. But as you can see, that was transferred and behaves accordingly to the DAW that you use. So how did I get that going? That's like actually a huge deal for most of you who understand what I'm talking about. It's a huge deal because you don't have to worry about missing out on certain things that your DAW provides, and which one is the big one, the render in place. Another one is this right here. As you can see, you can actually, I don't know if you guys know this with Cubase at least, you can freeze your view of the inspector window here off to the left by pressing Control. So let's say all I wanted to see are the inserts and the fader, kind of like how Pro Tools or Logic shows that off to the side. I could do that as well by holding Control or Command in Mac, and then go to the fader and so on. And then I can kind of just sort of like keep it midway point, and then I can actually add inserts off to the left. Great little workflow idea. And as you can see here, maybe I'll go down just a little more so you can see the bottom of the faders. And I think there's a way to maybe switch that around so you get a little bit more out of it. But that's basically Unity. So down to the bottom. So as you keep it from Unity down to or negative infinity, or whatever you want to call that. Anyways, all of that is available as is your each instrument that you have. Okay, so how did I do this? That's the question. How did I do this? This is huge. Okay, so we have to actually load in 99 instances. Well, at least in my case, I did 99 instances of VEP or Vienna Ensemble Pro. So over here, you can see the numbering system, how I made it to 99, and there's different types of classes basically. So these are my synths, and then as I go down, you can see in the 80s, they're percussion stuff. And I color coded it too, so it's just a little easier. As you can see from the pink 58 to 63, that's my mallets. Voices for yellow, and then plucks or guitars. And then my strings are in orange, brass is in red, and then my woodwinds for green. And I have a full ensemble as well. So, sometimes libraries are only offered as like a full patch, like the Metropolis Arc Zero. Anyways, okay, so the reason why I want to show you this is I don't know if anyone else has tried this before. Maybe they have, they just haven't made a video or anything about it, but it's stable. And as you can see, I just played the whole session with however many tracks is showing on here. And it's stable, and it's behaving in a way where you have best of both worlds, which is you can do stuff in Cubase like you've done before if you were to just natively load in an instrument like this one right here, this instrument track, for instance, and do render in place like so, and then do a dry transfer or whatever. So that is the workaround. And that's something that in the forums I remember seeing in like VSL on their website. Someone asked, like, is it better to do less instances and more instances inside of those instances, like contact or whatever that you load in, or is it better just to do like multiple instances across the board? And I remember it may have been Paul or someone from VSL that said it's better. We recommend that it's better used with less instances. So I'm kind of breaking a few myths about this, and eventually I'll make a video about this too, like an official YouTube video. This is a live stream, so for me this is kind of nice to just gush about my discovery here, and if you guys have any questions too, whoever's watching, just to kind of bounce ideas off of each other. But I've thought about this long and hard, and there's kind of some trade-offs with this approach, but overall it's much more better solution, I think, and it's breaking some of the myths that were known about doing it this way. Okay, so a couple things. In the preferences, as you can see here on the screen, you have normally this tab where you can make multiple MIDI ports and audio outputs. In my case, I actually created just one MIDI port per instance. And you can keep it this way, but I chose to do it this way just to kind of test the waters, and also because I'm using instrument tracks rather than instrument rack in Cubase, if that makes sense. So the instrument track only can use one MIDI port anyways. It can't read the multiple MIDI ports like instrument rack can do. So I just might as well just keep it to one. Because of that. That limits me to 16 channels or MIDI channels that I can use. So in other words, you can only do 16 instruments per instance of your VEP. So that's maybe a trade-off for those who don't use key switch type of sample libraries. If you are one that prefers multiple articulations separated out, then this might not be the best approach. But again, this is kind of a trade-off or a compromise that I'm happy to live with. So anyway, so this is one thing. The other thing is they talked about how in Vienna Ensemble Pro you can, allot different threads per instance. To be honest, I don't think this really matters anymore. I'm sure it does to some degree, but I've always just put 16 on there. And whether it's 2 or 3 instances or 99, it seems to be working pretty stable, whichever that system you have in, just to make it the max, so 16 threads. So those are some things to know. Again, I talked about instrument racks. So what I mean by that is if I go up, let's see if I can find it. Maybe it's hidden or something. There we go. So if you go over here, in this red folder, I have all my instrument tracks, as opposed to if you look over here off to the side. And it's kind of hard to see because I might, my face and whatnot is covering the top of this. But as you can see down below, these are all instrument tracks. Here's the rack that I'm talking about, so you can, do your traditional way of Vienna Ensemble Pro and load it in this way. And that's how I've done it for many, many years. But there's some advantages by doing it this way. So again, with the instrument track approach, you can disable your instances right away. I have a button for that I created in the automation side of the window over here, if that makes sense. So my CC17 actually turns on and off depending on how the fader level is. So if it's at like 127, it's gonna turn it on, and 1 or 0 will turn it off. So anyways, that is pretty nifty. I can also just disable a track, like how you've done before, but this works really well when you're about to mix everything down and you don't really need to connect anything from Vienna Ensemble anymore. You can actually highlight everything and then disable all selected tracks. All of these will disappear. And that's actually been a nice benefit than before, because if let's say I were to load everything inside a Cubase with instrument racks, so 99 instrument racks, which in some ways is nice, I wouldn't be able to highlight everything and just disable them right away. I would have to go in and click on each single power button and go from there. So I hope that makes sense. I think I might have messed up something though when I did that. Let's double check. So I did my synth pad. As you can see, that's still connected. Okay, great. All right. So with that being said, I hope whatever I just mentioned helps anyone that sees this approach, and it might answer some questions that you may have had regarding a workflow like this. So again, working horizontally with separating out all your instruments into different instances of the Ensemble Pro, rather than going vertically where you have only 2 of these and you load everything in this way, and then it gets really messy with your routing. So I prefer only one MIDI port now. If let's say I go over 16, then I just let's find one like this. So as you can see here, this goes all the way 16. It's kind of blurred out, but basically, if you want more than 16, just make another one. Call it A, call it B. And this is ethnic percussion A, ethnic percussion B. You can even go C. You can go as many as you want. Just know that this is your audio output as well. So you would have 3 outputs of ethnic percussion A, ethnic percussion B, and C. So that's just kind of one little weird thing if you're gonna keep making more instrument tracks. But I found that even with like all my string libraries, let's say over here, um, I still have a lot of room to grow. As you can see, right here is about 14. So, of course, as I add on, I might have to do like a B for some of these. I already have for the ensemble ones. As you can see here, there's some Symphobia, um, East West, and whatnot. But so this A corresponds to this B, and as you can see here, this you know probably fills up most of those 16 slots. But anyways, that is kind of the test for today is to see what else I can do. And you learn a lot just by you know uh, just working like you normally would. And eventually you'll find out, oh, there's certain adjustments that you have to make. So I actually already know a few that I need to do. So actually I'm going to make a list here off to the side that I realized when I was loading this in right before our live stream. So the first one is the Jaeger. Uh, the Jaeger library, all of them have to change sample starts. Great. Okay, second thing is, oh yeah, duplicate certain libraries or certain tracks like the bass drum, timpani, Dulcimer. I think that's about it. I think there was something weird. Oh yeah, see like this timpani roll. One is a MIDI from Vienna Ensemble. The other one is an instrument track, and I had to do that because there's certain things I'm doing here. Now let's put that together. Yeah, see how that works. So this is acting like one instrument. And I can all I need to do is just add another one instead of the VEP off to the side, and duplicate it and just call it like Cineperk A, Cineperk B, something like this. And then yeah, go off to the other side and load in a contact instance. Anyways, that was just some realizations I've had. So now that we know that it works, and this is probably a really good example of one that really stress tests the computer. This is my laptop, by the way. It works well. However, you know, even with the latest and greatest technologies, it can only do so much inside one computer. But I'm hoping with this type of function with the render in place, I can go ahead and jump around some hoops now and not worry about certain things like before, because now it's more of a peace of mind. I can actually highlight all of this, do a dry transfer, and it'll keep all my settings that I want on there with my inserts and sends. And again, this really touches home with certain people who work with Vienna Ensemble Pro that might be like, oh, the dry transfer is a dream, it's a pipe dream, but this really is a game changer for me, at least. So I hope that helps anyone that's watching. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and insert some bars, push that over to the side, and what I'll do is I'm gonna kind of minimize this so that I can work. Okay, I think that covers most of what I want to talk about with Vienna Ensemble Pro. It's holy moly, it's been a lot of hours to try to go this way, and it was a big risk on my end because let's say it wasn't stable and it kept crashing or whatnot, then what would I have to do? I would have to go back to the original way, but it was a good risk, and I'm just so happy. I don't know. It's one of those things that most people can't relate to, but for those who do use this, again, I'm just ringing the bell to everyone that you can load more than one instance, and it's so much better to do it this way, honestly, because then when it comes for next year or the years after, when you're ready to update and add or replace libraries, you can go back into your session, the Vienna Ensemble session, that is, and you can just pinpoint the ones that you want to replace, like if it's all flute stuff or strings, brass, whatever. You can go in, and it's super organized this way. You're not really having to worry much about the even the automation side of things. It's all pretty intuitive that way. So anyways, okay, let's go ahead and work and write some new music. And again, we're just testing out this new template and hoping that everything here is stable. I should mention that Vienna Ensemble Pro hosts VST3 libraries now, like such as Contact 6 and the VST3 version. However, I found that it kept crashing. So don't use it because it's going to crash and cause a lot of problems. But your good old VST2 version of everything works fine, and it's rock solid. Okay, so let's see. I have a few instruments here loaded up. Let's also look at my RAM and see if I can load in any other instruments here. As you can see, my CPU is pretty high because it's streaming something right now while we're live here on YouTube. But also with Vienna Ensemble Pro and the way I'm working, it taxes the system a bit more. So that's something to watch out for. My RAM was good. I had 50%. Let's load in some guitars. Okay, and I'm going to do just a few of these on each side. So I have that, and then I'm going to do the other side, which is the B section. Yeah, why not? Okay, and then let's also load in some bass. Let's do one of these, a deep, fat rock. Let's try punchy. Okay, so what I do to turn it on is I can do it this way. Let's see. I can do it this way. So this first column turns on the instance, or the actual VEP instance. So I'm gonna press play, or you can. I also have a button. It's a CC17 that I have it associated with. So then you go over here. It probably already turned on, but as you can see, my electric guitar A and electric guitar B's are turned on. None of them are actually turned on though. And this is the way I prefer working because you only load in what you need to this way. So the second column over here is what turns that on. So let's go ahead and press play. Again, you can do it this way. I mean, that's how I have it set up. You can do it that way, or you can press a button on my fancy touchscreen pad, and it's for CC19. And then let's go back over here to VEP. And you can see now that these have turned on. So this is my Scarby P bass, punchy, and then those guitars that I loaded in. That's probably as much as my computer can handle. Well, I probably could do more, but I'm going to add that along with some drums. I think drum set would be nice, so let's go ahead and do drum set here. And I haven't loaded in every single item, by the way, so I'm still working and trying to perfect this this new template setup. But anyways, I do have some drum set stuff, so let's load in these guys. Why not do this and this? Let's try these guys. Okay, so this time I'm gonna actually press the button. So I'm turning that guy on, and then let's see if I press this button, this should turn it on. And let's give that some time to load. Okay, so we're gonna do. I'm kind of in the mood for something rocky today, so we can do some drums, some bass guitar, and I'll make sure that I'm muted when this happens, so it's not leaking through. But I think some rock guitars, drums, and also some strings, some select strings, brass, things like that. Woodwind, maybe. We'll see. We'll give woodwind some love if we can. Let's see here. Oh yeah. So let's delete this and get rid of that. Okay. I also have this instance, which I don't even think I need per se, and this one, these ones I do need for now. Eventually, I'd like to just get everything loaded in Vienna Ensemble Pro. So again, my bass drum, I'll need to make 2 of these, bass drum A, bass drum B, so that way I have some rolls, and then I can do some hits separately from each other. Okay, so I think we're ready to rock and roll. First thing is finding a riff. Okay, I'm just kind of getting myself situated here. All right, let's do some drums now. What I like to do is mix and match some of the sounds. I really like the snare on the first one. And so maybe we'll write a beat, and then we'll separate them out to different sounds. my best work, but let's this should replace too. Let's double check and make sure that it replaced. Okay. All right. So let's just make a solid groove here. So let's make these all eighth notes. Okay. And so on. So let's make some time for this. Sorry, wrong button. I've been working in Mac all day. Okay, so this first part is kind of a intro, I would say, but what we'll do is once we get into this main beat, we should do something a little bit more steady. So meaning not much of a fill towards the end of the phrase. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think we have a better ending on that. So then we can kind of cut as we go. So let's make a marker here. And that will be our first part. Okay, so what I like to do now is come up with a riff, and we're kind of just jamming with some guitars for now, but eventually we can try to mesh some strings into this, and probably some spiccato strings, and then I like to add other aspects. Let's see, maybe some trailer toms, some brass. Yeah. Okay, so let's find a riff now. feel like I need to go faster. I thought maybe slower was better, but now that I'm playing guitar on it, let's go 144. All right, mute myself. We'll do a soft quantize like this. Right there. Let's fix that. Okay, I see what happened. Since this end of this note didn't quantize to the end of the beat, it did something weird. I guess there's some legato scripting that happens there, but now it's kicking in the right articulation. So great. Let's add some CC7 data. Okay, and there's still something kind of funky I'm hearing, so I hate to do this, but let's quantize hard on everything and just make sure that there isn't some weird overlapping happening. I'll press play one more time. Okay, it's a lot cleaner. It's not, like there's certain things I'm hearing that maybe could be a little bit longer, like this first, these notes that I'm highlighting. Anyways, this is a nice little fun riff that I'm hearing. I can hear other things now in my head. So this is hard pan to the left. What we should do is kind of introduce something to the right, midway, let's say like measure 5 or something. We'll figure it out, but also let's look at the bass line. this might not be the best bass line or the best bass note. So I'm gonna actually load in a couple more. I have I have a Rickenbacker as well. I think that would work really well with this. Okay, again, with Vienna Ensemble Pro, you can kind of freeze the frame here so that you can basically see what you want to see, which is basically all of that. And let's look at that. Set as last pre-fader. Sometimes I wish this was shorter. I wonder, pre-fader slot. I wonder if I can shorten this. That would make things a little bit better. So let's say after 8. Oh, I see. So that doesn't really do what I want. Let's just keep it as is. Anyways, so this is a first insert, and then I can kind of see towards the end of that. That's the unit or negative infinity. Okay, so let's do this then. Load up these guys if I didn't already, and audition these. And I don't think it's loaded in just yet. Give it a second. Maybe the button's not working. So let's see. Let's try this. Okay. Here we go. This one has like a preset on it, so that's why it already sounds louder and bigger. But let's try this one. Okay, all right, so we have another line for that. Again, this is all with the template, and I'm using a different aspect of the template that I don't really show a lot, but I do enjoy making some rock music. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's add the right guitar. I also have keys. That's something I didn't even mention, but keyboard, like an organ, would be nice for something like this. But yeah, anyways, let's go to the right side, which is right here. And I think we can sort of replicate the right, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and experiment with it. So I realize I'm clipping, so I apologize. Let me make sure that you guys can hear this without the digital messiness that's happening. Maybe the drums can be a little quieter. So let's go here. Bring that down just slightly. Bring this down. That applies. Oh, sorry, I was talking again with but muted. What I was saying is, I have my fader and my inserts. Now I can actually see the number, and I can also do the automation if I need to. With seeing just about everything, it's not. I guess I can't do the automation there per se, but that's okay. Um, that you pick your battles. So that is good for me. I'm just bringing the volume down to level this so it's not clipping. Okay, we're just making some noise right here. So, uh, it doesn't have to be like so polished in terms of like getting the notes perfectly the same arrangement way. Like as you can see here, I'm playing one note here. Here I'm doing this, so it's not 100% the same. That's okay. We'll just kind of add as we go. So that's the first thing. Um, and then what will happen is the drums maybe hits a little harder here. Okay, let's All right, so we got some drum parts laid down, and this will maybe have something here where the beat or like the actual riff kind of comes in. So and when I say the riff, like when all the instruments come in, so then we have something like this. All right, so we have something here that could work. Let's try that much. Dee da dee. Let's see. Um, let's do that. Okay. All right, so we need to bring that up a little bit. All right, so that's one idea I have. Let me try this pinchy squeal one real quick. And these are under power chords. I'm kind of wondering if it sounds better just as a one note kind of thing. Let's see. Okay, so it could be something with a signal chain I can change, but I'm going to just, I don't know. I think I'll keep it for now, what I have going on. And if time goes on, maybe I could try a different signal chain there. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Wrong octave. Let's also change this right here. All right, let's try this bass line and see how that sounds. Let's gotta clean it up. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be our main riff idea that we just heard. When this comes into, and we should add a marker as well. Um, I wonder, yeah, what else we can add in there that would spice things up a bit. Let's try one of these guys. or maybe this one. That's kind of fun. Let's try it one more time and say yay or nay to that after. Octaves will be the way to go here. All right, so let's hear how that sounds. Let's maybe add notes in between that. So far, the computer is working well. I'm not sure if we're taxing it too much with this composition, but we will try adding other instruments here in a little bit. Okay, here's another thing that I was going to mention with Vienna Ensemble Pro. Excuse me. If you have this output chain right here, you can also just, rather than looking over on the inspector window, if I want to do other things inside of here, like the sends or some EQing, I prefer in this window. So I'm going to actually boost this up a little bit. Yeah, already better. So we're boosting some things to match the volume of the drums, and again, we're trying not to peak or do any clipping now at this point. I do have a limiter on here, but we want to also just kind of gauge and make sure we're not just like overly hitting that hard. Okay, so that is one idea. The other thing I'd like to do is you could double the guitars with something else that makes it louder though, so just kind of be careful with that. We can try that. The other one is with the drums that kind of hit right here. It's a little bit weak sauce. I feel like the crashes need to be louder, and this is where we can maybe orchestrate some of those out to other drums. So, for instance, now that we have this, let's go ahead, see if I can get the crashes to be by itself and kind of boost that up to something else. So something like this. And let's see how that sounds. Okay. Maybe we can try a different set. Okay, I'm gonna add a intro to this. So a little pickup, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So on 2, we're gonna add a little floor tom-esque with snare drum approach. Okay, all right. So let's hit the next part when the guitar comes in, or all of them come in right here. We have that sound. And we might have something else, a different sound here. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's it right there. That's what we want. We just want to hit it a little harder in this feel. So now let's also add another element to this, which is some strings. Let's see here. What's nice about this is now we can go ahead and copy and paste this riff to maybe 4 times the length, and I think we're good to do that. So let's do that now. Okay, actually, make sure all of these are quantized to the end, so to speak, except for the ones that we don't want. So maybe like that. Okay, cool. So then we can do this. Oh, actually, let's also look at the beginning. All right. Oh, these are muted notes. Okay. Just want to make sure that there are no notes that are cut off on accident. What's this one? Let's kick. Okay. All right. All right, we're good. So let's go ahead and duplicate that. I thought I pressed the wrong button, but no, it just takes a bit. So that duplicates. Now duplicate one more time. Okay, and then once that is duplicated, let's think of a string part. Be-dom, bom, bam, bom, bom, something like that. Let's see. Hmm. Cool. Here's some other fun little things I've done in the past. If I open up one of these guys, my transformers, so to speak, let's see. Modifiers, no. MIDI, okay. I think there's one where I add an octave higher to it. So one note is playing two notes now. That way you can hit those octaves. Let's try that. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to what we have captured. Let's see. All right, I think everything else looks good. Let's see here. Okay. All right. I'm going to adjust a few things. Another thing I can try doing here is layering the string part with another string part just to hear how that sounds with perhaps some Pacific strings. So I'm going to load that in now. Okay. So far, so good in terms of the loading of all the instruments. So let me just do this like I've done before. So it kind of locks your view of the insert and faders. And let's go ahead and load this up. Okay. All right, and I'm gonna copy and paste this over. Let's see how that's. All right, it doesn't sound half as bad. Let's just double check these sounds. So these should be all spiccatos. Um, over here, let's listen to this solo. I'll do a hard quantize on this one, and let's listen to these two together. Okay. Great. All right. Now I'm gonna also maybe add a fifth underneath this, kind of like a power chord for strings. So in this case we have E, so we'll add a B underneath that, and then over here let's add a D. Cool. All right. Let's just keep testing this new template out. So let's add some brass now, something else, some new instruments to load in the RAM and make sure that it doesn't crash the system. I'm at 50% right now, and that's with sends and reverbs all already in there. Let's try this one. Actually, you know what? Let's do like a trumpet slash horn something. We'll start with horns first. Let's see. So we'll kind of layer this. So maybe the horns will come in on the second half of this, like right here on this marker. So we have some strings, and after the strings are introduced, then something else has to layer on this part to keep the interest going. And it'd be nice to add a pause somewhere here too. But let's see where we go from here. Horns. Horns are tricky because as soon as you put horns into something like this, it sounds like a film score now rather than like a rock track, which I'm not opposed to. And again, this track is to really stress test the system, so I'm fine with that. I got a note here. Hey, Longacre. Hey, Tom. How you doing, man? Thank you. It's rocking. Let's keep it rocking. So let's do this. I'm gonna layer some other horns with it. See how this sounds. I gotta mute myself. Okay, I decided to do it separately. I'm going to copy that over and layer it instead. So it's a bit drier than the other one. That's fine. Let me go and maybe look at the sends. Let's bring the sends up. So this is for both of the libraries. So they're going to be even more wet. Might dial it down just a bit. Let's hear how that sounds. Okay, not bad. Let's hear that in context with everything. Nice. Okay. So there's some mixing things that we need to do for this track to really be another level, I guess. Guitars, virtual guitars are hard to make sound real sometimes. But the ones I use, I'm pretty happy with. It's probably one of the better ones out there. This is a library from a local Utah company called Orange Tree Sounds. I highly recommend them. There's a really famous composer who I believe his name is I don't want to make his or get his name wrong, but his last name is Dowdle, and he's a guitar player. Sampled most of this stuff with along with another engineer who I'm not too familiar with, but anyways, great stuff. I digress. Let's go back to this track. Let's do another trumpet here. Or another brass, I should say, with trumpet. And I think maybe we can layer, but I was also thinking we could just do some staccato stuff. I don't know. Maybe trombone can do the staccato stuff. Let's just layer that melody that we just played. Oh. I'm just debating if I should keep it the octave higher or lower. It's kind of quiet though, so I think I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make this sound better. So let's try a few things in the mixing department. Oops, I didn't mute myself. what I was gonna do here is see if we could get get away with that in the lower octave, and then do something else like a higher thing. When I say a higher thing, a higher like a sprinkle of staccato or something else. Let's try this. What if I went ba bum bum? So ba ba ba, maybe ba bum bum. Let's see. It's not quite the sound, but yeah, I think we'll just have to stay with staccato on that end. Bum bum. It just sounds a little too drastic. Maybe if it was for real, the trumpet players would, you know, extend that out just to taste just a little bit. Anyways. All right, so then what we could do is this trumpet sounds okay there, but maybe we can put the trumpets or this little melody into a trombone line instead, since that's where it would probably be more comfortable at. All right, loading in some more instruments. Let's hear how this sounds. I'm turning them on, and then saving, and let's see what happens. If it's gonna crash, we'll see. Usually the circle thing is a big test. Yeah. So the thing about this template is it saves much quicker than it would have I been working just natively inside the the Cubase session. And if for anyone that's watched my older episodes, there are a lot of times where that happened. The autosave would kick in, another minute goes by, it's still saving. So and what you just saw was actually it was actually related to the instrument loading, not saving. So anyways, let's go over here and let's see if I can paste in this trombone part and see if that sounds better. Aha, so sound isn't coming through. So this is one thing that I've noticed, and I think what happened is everything here cut away because I think my Vienna Ensemble just crashed on me. Okay, so okay, well there you go. Now we know that it can crash. This actually didn't happen in the last stress test, so to speak, but it looks like after a certain point it just can't take it anymore. So that's good to know. Normally, I don't load all these instruments up anyways. So when I'm working inside of a session, it'll just be like half of this. So that's good to know. Let's see if I can open it up again though and get it connected, so to speak. So the best way to do that is actually to go ahead and load it in. So let's do that real quick. Server. And what I should do is here, I'll trick the system. So I'm going to load a new project and activate it. Let's see what happens here. Okay. All right, so we're going to have this activated to a different session. And then let's just load in that Vienna Ensemble Pro. It doesn't take too long. I mean, with all the stuff that we've loaded, it may. So, but let's see how it goes. This will be kind of a good, it's a good thing that you can see as well. So it says it seems like the application was improperly shut down, possibly due to a crash. Do you want to load the last saved server project? So I would say yes, and then have that loaded up. And you can see here that I have, well, it's 99 instances, but the last one is just like a reference one for the for my previous template. So eventually I'll delete it and I'll just have 99. Why 99? Why not? I just wanted to keep the numbering system a certain way, so I didn't want to go past 3 digits, so to speak. So I'll just have 2 digits. But yeah, so this is all loading without the instruments, as you can see here. These are all disabled. So what we'll have to do is we're going to have to turn it back on and then load in the instruments. And this is where I have to really question or really decide on, is this the best route? Again, this is everything really I want in the workflow with Vienna Ensemble Pro and Cubase, but if it keeps crashing, then you know, that's something to consider. So all right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of this guy. Don't save. Okay, and we're gonna activate this session. I'm actually gonna save it though, just in case, before we activate it. Okay. All right. As much as it's a pain to route Vienna Ensemble this way, it really is worth it. Man, I can't tell you how excited I am. It's it's so, I don't know, it changes everything. If my computer was stronger too, it probably wouldn't have crashed, which you know, it's asking a lot from your computer, so understand how that might trigger something like that. So what I'll do this time is I'm going to only load in everything that's between here. So let's go ahead and do this. Show tracks with data between locators. So these are all the tracks I'm used so far for this composition, and I'm going to let it go through the gauntlet. So this is the one to enable the instance. Okay. Oh, I should undo that. Okay, and then you'll see here eventually like the ensemble woodwind and some of the brass should start showing up or popping up in a little bit. But if it's not, it means that it's not connected, which will be a problem. So, and that's probably because I saved it. I'm just thinking out loud here. It's probably because I saved it when I probably shouldn't have saved it, so to speak. So let's go to this guy again. All right. Do that. Okay, and then what we're doing is we're gonna see if it's connected. Okay, so these are all connected. That was my fear. My fear was these all disconnected somehow. So I'm not sure why that didn't enable the instances, because I only see one. Okay, so let's go back and try it again, I guess. So we'll go here and press play. Oh, actually, you should do this one too. Okay, so that again, this like a MIDI flag is what we've called them in the past. And you make a little MIDI flag for that to trigger and kick in. And I'm not seeing that kick in, unfortunately, which is very strange in my part. But I'm going to go ahead and try a different approach. Let's go ahead and press this button. See if that opens it up. Let's see here. There we go. Do this. Okay, and did that talk to each other? I guess not. So, because one for sure that I know will pop up are these two. So you got the electric guitar A and the electric guitar B. Okay, and did that turn on? No, it didn't. That is strange. So you can do it manually, I guess, but it's not wanting to connect. Oh, okay. I think I know why now. Ooh, I see. Okay, so that's a problem. I think the best way to do this is to let's get out of Cubase. Okay. Okay, I know why. And these are some troubleshooting things that is just bound to happen. So we're learning this together, so to speak. But a lot of it is just letting it go through the gauntlet and letting it figure out for itself. So the inputs got lost somehow. So what I'm hoping is once I load this back in from Cubase with a session, I'm going to have it loaded up and it will be mapped accordingly. So you see how all these ports are missing. So what most of the time they're because of so it would be these kind of ports, I believe. Input 1, let's see what it says. Oh, okay. Yeah, so somehow it lost all its routing when it crashed and when I saved the Cubase file. So this is not gonna be very quick. But I mean, shoot, what else can you do? I don't know, because you have to kind of point it to the right one every time, and I don't think it will figure itself out at this point, unless maybe I have to get out of both programs and let it load up, which I don't know if I want to do that to you guys. So at this point, I think we're gonna have to call it for the night. It is getting to that point, but basically, these are some of the things that I'm gonna have to just face on my own and understand that it's not, it's not. This isn't like the end all be all or the cure all for all my woes for Vienna Ensemble Pro, but it's a great starting point. And maybe whoever watches this, maybe the VSL people will also have something to say about that. But yeah, basically I have to just go in through all of these, and that's not what I want to do right now. I could just do it in here for the ones that we do have, so to speak, so I can at least press play and wrap this session up, so to speak. So let's try that. Let's go ahead and find the trumpets for that here. Trumpet, and you can type it in as well. Horn, trombone, and then as that happens, you can also load it in. So you can go like this, and then do this. So we kind of load it in one at a time. And then let's do this one. These are our strings. So let's say string ensemble, string str. Yeah, this is another one, str. This is a dulcimer. Okay, and then do this and do this. Let that load in. All right, and then let's just keep going. So then we have our guitars. This is E guitar, I believe, or let's see. No, that's not right. E guitar, this one. E guitar, this one. Or B. And then this is another B. E guitar, B. All right. Hopefully you guys are still with me here when it comes to understanding what's going on. We're almost here. Then we have our bass, E bass, and let's turn that guy on. So yeah, this isn't what I was hoping for, but I mean, what can you do? So let's see if this keeps happening. That's the question. Drum set. Drum set. Okay. And let's go ahead and turn that on. Okay. So I should have everything loaded now, and then we can check real quick on the other end. I do know that the Jaeger stuff has some issues with the sample start time. So let's go ahead and just double check here. Sample start time's good. Let's go to the horns. Okay. Sample start time is good. Trombones. Drum roll. Sample start time is good. Okay, so let's go ahead and press play. forgot to mute myself. Hopefully, that playback didn't sound weird. But let me try this ending here real quick. I didn't do it that time. That's good. So everything's playing as should be. So let's go here and finish this little tune off. Okay, so the idea would be we go da da da, and then a little drum solo, boom. Let's try that. So we'll let that ring out about here. Okay, and let's put this way over here as our ending. All right, so we're almost done. Just a couple things to do is double what we just did onto the bass guitar. All right, and I was afraid it was too short, so let's go twice as long there. Okay, let's keep. Sorry guys, keep pressing the wrong button. It's the curse when you work with Macs and PC all day, every day. Anyways, I use the what's this Meta key, right? The Windows key is the Command key in Mac. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but it messes up my my workflow sometimes. I should just use two different keyboards, but sometimes it's just nice to not have to switch keyboards, like physically move them out from the desk and whatnot. Anyways, sorry about that. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, that didn't work the way I wanted to. Let's try again. Okay, I got one little issue here, so let's solve that real quick. So D -2. Let's find the strings. So we're going to strings B, which is this one. And I don't believe this one actually is loaded. Yeah, so that's the high. It's this one right here. So we gotta load this in. Let's just do it physically. Enable channel, and once that's enabled, this will kick in the way it should. Okay, not yet. Oh, that's very odd. This one doesn't want to seem to work. I wonder if I need to do like any for this one. No? That is strange. So let's go back to 1, and then for these guys, let's double check. We got spiccato in there. Okay. So then that should be sounding, unless I'm doing the wrong one. Let's see. No, it should be this one. So if I go like this, yeah, that should be triggering, but it's not. Let's see. Strings, ensemble, A. Oh, I see. So this has to be B. There we go. Okay, found it. Maybe we should crescendo out of it. I don't know if you guys can hear some Rage Against the Machine right there, but I do. It sounds like killing in the name of dun dun dun. Let's see here. So yeah, after this dun dun dun, let's just do like a quick. Let's see. Okay, let's do a little decrescendo here. So da 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 da, like that. Let's say it says 144. Let's just bring it down to like 120 on that last part. Here, let's do a 132. And I actually haven't tested this out with really much of tempo changes on this new template workflow, so let's see if that works. All right, and last thing is just making I can't talk right now. Making an ending with the crash cymbal and maybe some kick. So let's start with the kick first. Okay. All right, and then let's add some crashes. Something like that. Let's add a harder crash at the start of it though. Okay. Now, was there anything else? I think we're okay to just call it, but let's see if the routing is good on each of these again. I thought it's for the most part sounded pretty good. So let's maybe bring up the drums in this piece just slightly. So let's go over here and let's just bring up the drums by that much. Okay. All right, so here is our nice little ditty rock piece with some strings and brass and also dulcimer. Here we go. Oh, and I forgot to mute myself when I press play. Um, well, that's pretty much it. I hope that wasn't sounding weird when I did that. Let me try this one thing. Okay, well, I was gonna automate, and this is just a Cubase quirk in general. uh, um, this actually exponentially complicates things because the way to work around this was to duplicate the track, uh, and I can't really duplicate this track because it's a Vienna Ensemble track. But let's see what happens. Like, let's see if I don't know. Maybe I can disable and enable. Let's see if that does anything. Okay, so that worked in a sense. Let's see if it's still connected. Okay, so that's the workaround. Usually I would duplicate and then just delete the other one, but it's a little complicated that way. Anyways, I want to just automate that a little bit so it's a little louder. And let's see if I hear drums. That's missing. Okay, so every time you do that, it loses its place. That's so weird. That's gonna be a problem. That definitely will be a problem. But we'll work out the kinks as we go. This is a new little scenario I haven't thought of. But yeah, so drum set. Let's just find that guy. There you go. All of these really. Drum set. Drum set. Okay. Um, and then yeah, the ending with the guitars was kind of weird. I'm not sure how I can fix that, but sometimes it plays and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know if there's the only thing I can think of actually is if there was sustain pedal in any of this. So let's double check. Yeah, that's why. So this one doesn't have it either. Okay, great. And then one other idea I had Okay, so we're almost there. I decided to just do one more thing and make sure it's played without my microphone picking up the sounds. Okay, let's see here. Oopsie. Let's add a dot 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 like that. Cool. All right, I think we're good now. Shall we press play with everything involved? Let's do it. Let's do also this shortcut key I've made in the past. Yeah, like that. And that way we can see all the parts as we do this. Oh, this is kind of funky because it attached itself to the other part. And then we could do this, which is another shortcut with this. Okay. All right. I'm going to mute myself this time. Let's press play. Okay, so there is the official playthrough for our piece. We wanted to do that to kind of stress test what we are working on, which is a big, fat template update with a whole new workflow system. And it's not perfect, as you can see. There's still some flaws in the system. So one is it can get a little bit faulty at times, and when it does, it kind of breaks what you have in the routing. So like for these things, so that's what I've noticed so far. But besides that, when it works great, it works awesome. It's amazing, and so I'm going to just um, commit to the rest of this template, and I'm almost done. I just need to add some percussion and some synths and things like that. But once we're there, then I guess the next step is to compose with that on our live streams and on my own personal projects, and then just go from there, see if things start to shape up. All right, well, that is all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll do another live stream coming up soon your way. And be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already. With that being said, I'm Joshua Sohn. I will see you next time. Take care.